Hello and welcome to another New Catholic Generation movie review. I'm your host, David. I'm here with Ned from Parables of the Film Industry, Mark, our special regular guest.
Not Renee. Darn it! I almost got through it.
He's been on 6 of the last 7 panels, and he's been a special guest every time.
You're never getting through it. You'll always be not
somebody.
Renee.
Or not somebody.
Not somebody, yeah.
Yes, my last panel I was with Renee.
But you'll always be somebody, but you'll always be not somebody at the same time. Just in a different sense.
Exactly.
We're getting all metaphysical here, aren't we? And that's Joseph, the metaphysical apologist. So today, we are reviewing a film called Beyond the Farthest Star. Now, it originally came out in 2015, but it just got its DVD release in the US and Canada this December. We actually got sent this film by the director, and he asked us to check it out and review it. And honestly, it turned out to be something way different than I expected. The basic premise is you've got this family of a mom, a dad, and their daughter. The dad was this child prodigy preacher, and he was considered to be he was going to be the next Billy Graham. He prayed with the president of the White House. But then after that, it was all downhill from there because he was so overqualified that no place could hire him. So he's out preaching in the middle of Nowheresville, Texas, and his wife is currently playing the role of the pastor's wife, but deep down she's depressed. And, oh man, if the wife's depressed, the daughter is really into that role of being the edgy teen who's into...
My kind of person.
Probably would be friends.
And one of the catalysts for the plot is that there's this big nativity scene out on the front of the church property, and it gets burned down by somebody, and the pastor wants to file a lawsuit for destruction of property, but government people are telling him, actually, well, this is in a public, area, and it's going to be something that's infringing on people's religious expression and freedom because it's forcing one religion down, and so we're going to have this big lawsuit and stuff. And so I was thinking, oh, is this going to be a God's Not Dead type of plot? And then the focus ended up being something entirely different and much darker than what I expected.
Yeah, honestly, I was definitely very pleasantly surprised by this movie. When I first started watching it, I was getting major God's Not Dead and I'm Not Ashamed PTSD at the beginning of this movie, and I thought I was going to hate it. And then, honestly, it kind of surprised me about a little bit about halfway through, I'd probably say.
Yeah, it's funny in that we just watched Generational Sins, which was intentionally made as a film to be sort of a more gritty, realistic portrayal of real-world struggles and issues. And while we were watching the film, Mark said...
General Sins was supposed to be the most depressing, realistic Christian film, and this film is just hold my wine.
So overall thoughts, Joe, what did you think?
Well, I kept watching it, honestly, and maybe it's just because it's finals and I'm in just the mood of okay, what's next, what next? I was just, and maybe also because the Southern Baptist stereotype sometimes is very not the best. But I kept watching this movie expecting okay, what's the thing that's going to happen in it that I don't like? Where's it going to go wrong? But I really didn't find anything major. I was kind of looking, I was just oh, I kind of like it. So...
What? What?
Well...
Are you okay, Joe? Are you okay?
I mean... Yes.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to make sure that you're okay.
We're here for you, Joe, in case it's opposite day.
Opposite day?
Does that mean we're not here for him?
Oh, whoops.
Thanks, guys!
Very awkward.
Say it.
So, Mark, what did you think?
Well, I was the only one who actually saw the trailer, and it seemed to be... The trailer was interesting, but I actually knew that Ned was either going to like it or hate it. Because of how the trailer seemed to give a lot of the storylines. As far as how did I like it, I did like it. As a writer, I thought there could have been an entire plot line that could have been just gone, and it was really, really long. I remember watching it, and I was just like, I'm enjoying this. But is this still going on?
Yeah, I definitely agree. As Mark said, I honestly for the beginning part of this movie, I thought I was going to freaking hate it, and but then I was pleasantly surprised. One of the reasons why I thought I was really going to hate it is because a lot of the characters in the movie are so. Let's see.
They're such stereotypes?
They're very much all stereotypes. It's just like one big giant stereotype. But their characters are very stereotyped in a way. Like the pastor, like going off saying, "Why are you playing vampire music?" which just made me laugh.
And especially because he kept on doing it.
Yeah. And then like his daughter basically like the punk goth rock girl, like I loved her character probably the most. Only because she spoke to my inner I hate everyone. Not really. I love everyone. But for example, the daughter wrote this poem, and the poem actually had to do with it was basically, she wrote a poem about aliens, as in like the movie Ridley Scott's Aliens, and I was like, I get that reference.
She's reading this poem in front of the class, and it's about this chest burster, and she's going into all the graphic detail about like coming out and spilling the guts and like
and acid blood and everything. And I'm just like, I get this reference. You speak to me.
Yeah, a couple of us got to it. Like we watched it as a group, and a couple of us actually got the reference. I did not like it because I'm not a fan of aliens.
That's okay. Not all of us are perfect.
Ooh. Ooh.
He was making
the thing about like the stereotypes was, although the characters were introduced perhaps in a very stereotypical way, they really didn't seem that way the more the film went on.
Exactly, and that's the thing that I loved about it. You know, they eventually progressed out of their stereotype. And they kind of remained in their stereotype, but it showed how flawed and realistic they were.
Yeah.
Which is the great thing. Like, although they might have been stereotyped, they were kind of like almost realistically stereotyped.
I would use the term layered.
Layered.
Yeah, layered.
Yes, they were very layered. And that is the thing I really appreciate about this movie. I think the only thing that I absolutely didn't like was some of the dialogue. It was
too on the nose, and it was too... Yeah, because I kind of didn't like it either. There was a couple of characters that I was just like... It was nails on a chalkboard for me.
The Southern people.
No offense to Southern people.
None.
But, like, yeah. And, like, I like the fact that there was a guy, because after she reads that poem, she freaks everyone out, and to the point where the principal is called, and it's just like, this is a person in a cringe coat, warning. Because they thought that she was going to become a school shooter, which...
That's the part that got me worried, honestly, because I'm like, please don't go down that route.
But instead of like her being a side character like you'd have in the other movies, like she's like the bully or the villain, she's the one with the tragic, past and struggles, and how the movie is about her like exploring those. So
exactly,
it was really well done.
Yeah.
I thought.
Once again, it was really good storytelling, honestly, when it came down to that.
Yeah, I guess for me, my turn to say
you go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, the movie really surprised me on several levels with the cinematography, for one. Ooh. It did not feel like there's... It's unfortunate in a lot of Christian films how there's just sort of this very, like, just playing it straight type of thing with the cinematography. Like, all the shots are very just sort of playing and it's getting the job done, but there's not like a super artisticness about it. Or if they are trying to be artistic, you can really tell. Like there's an example in Generational Sins where they have this like slow-mo shot of him destroying the house, except it's really like clunky, where like you could tell like they're like, all right, we have this gym, or like it's the slider, and the slider's going back and forth, and we got the slow-mo, and we're really emphasizing it. It felt like very much like we are doing this artistic thing. The artistic things that they did with the cinematography in this one felt super natural.
They were.
And really flowed with the scene.
Even the jump cuts.
The jump cuts.
That was the one thing which I had a problem with.
Yeah, so there's a jump cut just a couple of jump cuts early on. I understand why you didn't like them, because initially when they do some jump cuts, it's a wide shot. I don't think jump cuts work as well for wide shots. It works better when it's a close-up, but they did more of that.
Some of them worked. Yeah. Some of them definitely worked. Others just looked clunky. They looked like almost like they made a mistake and they were trying to cover it up.
And also the acting, I thought, especially the daughter. Shout out to the actress playing the daughter. She did an amazing job in so many scenes.
She did.
I'd say she carried this film.
She definitely carried the film. As I said, the only thing that bothered me about her, about like some of the actors, was some of the dialogue. Because I mean, in a realistic sense, I don't think like if she was like getting so like angry and dramatic like about like certain elements that were happening in the movie. Like for example, she has this guy who eventually kind of like becomes her boyfriend, and she keeps calling him Sticks Boy or Sticks or.
Well, that was the location of where they were.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but I just found it funny that no matter what, that's what she always called him.
I think that's kind of like one of the themes of her character is that she doesn't call people necessarily what they want to be called. She doesn't call... She calls her dad by his first name at the beginning of the film, and he really doesn't like it.
True. That's true. It's just... I found it maybe a little bit too unnatural. I mean, like, with her father, I completely understand. It's just... I've been there. I've actually called people, names that they didn't want to be called.
In third grade. Shut up, poop face!
Exactly.
You said what?
Like nicknames that they didn't really care about or whatever, and other such things, which I'm not going to get into at the moment. But for the most part, like if I got like upset or angry or something, maybe it's just me. Maybe there are people who would go ahead and continue with that, that kind of name. Sticking to the actual names and stuff like that. But I just found like that part of her to be a little bit too unnatural. Everything else, though, it was fine. I really liked her.
One of the parts I think I really enjoyed the most was the showing of love through sacrifice, which kind of comes in a special way at the end. And just the way that it came about, whether there was this doubt, there was this, anger even, and just how it ended up coming to be the sacrifice that showed like, yes, this is real and I'm for real about this, was something that was very I thought was very good to put in a film, and something I really appreciated.
Yeah, I think oftentimes it's like actions speak louder than words, and oftentimes in Christian's films there's just sort of like this preachy like speech moment. And in this film, there's some actions that take place which really show how much some characters love other characters, which...
Yeah, and it felt very real. Yeah. Like, the moment felt really real. Like, if that was a situation that was actually happening, that's how I would imagine a person, or me, or somebody else, like, kind of be... the aura they gave as far as, like, how they were talking... to the other person, it just felt like they knew, what was going on, and they knew what they were doing, and doing it for a reason.
Yeah, that was something I extremely loved about certain aspects about this movie. Although there was obviously lots of dialogue, it wasn't solely focused on talking, getting a point out. It was about showing that. And something that I absolutely love a lot of silent movies, and I think that there are, even though there's plenty of great modern films out there which have great monologues, parts of dialogue and stuff like that, which do make you think and make you watch it and whatever. I think one of the things that really shows is actions, because actions do speak a lot louder than words. And in a lot of more silent films compared to today, which things are definitely not very silent. So many Michael Bay explosions. We have kind of lost that aspect of just watching a silent moment and just watching
in it.
And reveling in it, yes, and watching the actions of characters and stuff. And that was something that I really loved about this movie. There was a lot of thought-provoking watching moments.
Yeah.
And
it definitely took its time.
Yes.
And made great use of the phrase, silence is golden.
That's true, isn't it? Very true. But yeah, no, it was definitely very good.
Something that I would like to bring up is the fact that this movie, we compared it to Generational Sins with being gritty and being realistic, and it definitely lives up to it, and it kind of one-ups it, because there are a lot of, and it deals with the daughter. She it's depressed about her life, and there are foreshadowings of things that she does where she self-harms herself, and I feel like it would be irresponsible of us to not bring that up.
Yeah.
Because not only do they hint at it, but they actually show her doing it. And so it was kind of triggering for some of us, but it was done kind of tastefully. It's not too bad, but you are sensitive to those kinds of topics. Just be warned about that scene.
Yeah, actually, Mark, how did you feel that depression was portrayed in this film?
I thought it was portrayed accurately in the thing of like the fact that she kind of felt alone, and the fact that there were people who were like, I don't understand you, you're a freak, when that obviously is not the case. And I thought it was a very realistic portrayal, because sometimes not even her parents understood what was going on through her. But they still loved her, even though from the depression side point of it, she felt like they didn't love her. She felt so closed off from anybody that I thought it was very realistic and very accurate to what the mental illness feels like.
All right, so closing remarks. Joe, would you recommend this film?
I would recommend it. I definitely recommend it, not to just anybody, but I would say that it's definitely a good film to watch and pay attention to, because a lot of times certain things become important that you aren't quite expecting when it's going to pop up. So I would recommend it. I would say it's kind of tough for me to say where I would recommend it. I don't think I was in the right mentality and zone personally for when I was watching this movie. So I feel like I need to watch it again to see if I enjoy it more or I enjoy it less. I'd say somewhere between 85 or 90% I give it, just because part of it is it's not something that blew me away. This is the most amazing thing ever. But there were a lot of really good important parts in it. So
it's still a B. So
it's still a B. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a good movie. I, however, don't think it's one of those movies you can repeatedly watch. Mostly because I don't think you would have the time to. So long. But yeah, I think it's a good movie. So yeah.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. It's definitely one of those movies where I think it would be nice to watch it with your family. Not little kids, mind you. Definitely not little kids. But for, maybe, teenagers and older than that, I think this would be a good movie to watch with your family. But as Mark said, definitely be aware of some of the content within the movie. But I definitely highly recommend it. And yeah, I definitely highly recommend it.
Yeah, I basically say I was genuinely surprised and impressed by this film. I thought it did a great portrayal showing a lot of Christian characters who are seriously flawed and struggling and working to overcome those struggles. So, yeah, I would recommend it as one of the top Christian films I saw in 2017. So, yeah, just not a fun for the whole family type of film. It's for mature audiences only.
Definitely.
Anyways, thank you so much for watching. And by the way, if you would like to check it out in the description, we are doing a campaign with other Catholic YouTubers for Mary's Meals this Advent season. And it will provide meals for children in schools in developing countries. And because it's Advent, every dollar you donate will be matched by an anonymous donor. So it's doubled. Anyways, if you can, check it out and consider it. Anyways, we hope we'll see you in the next review. Thanks for watching, and God bless.